Good. Neil has talked about better effort second half. Did you watch film? What did you see defensively, first and second half?
I don't know if the effort was better. I think they didn't have the edge that they had. So when you're up, whatever it was at halftime, it was a lot. I'm sure you don't have the same. Like I said after the game, we may have executed things a little bit better, but we had to figure out, and a lot of us still don't know what we were trying to do with some of our stuff, especially in the front seven. So we tried to make some adjustments going into the game to simplify some things for some of the guys, and it's like we obviously made a mistake with that because what we thought was simple froze them up, and so we didn't play with the aggression that we need to. We had a meeting in this room yesterday where we started off the meeting with the quote by Belichick, "Just do your job," and which was about the best way I can say it. Too many guys were not doing what they're supposed to do, and we did not execute. We missed. We had our hands on Kelly Bryant 5 times that are unexcusable that we don't get. So we didn't get those sacks, and they scored on 3 of those drives. We had a pick 6 that we baited them into throwing that we didn't execute well enough, and guy hits us in the back and should have, could, or whatever been called. Wasn't, but we still got a trigger and make that play. There's things, coulda, woulda, shoulda stuff. The message to the defensive guys yesterday was that we're way more capable than what we showed, and that we have got to do probably 3. I'll narrow it down to 3 things. We've got to have more courage, and I say that in a way, courage to make plays. You can't just freeze up. You've got to be relentless, and when I mean relentless, I mean you got to be tough. It is when you get out there. I don't want to liken it to war because war is life and death, and this isn't life and death. But it's a fight. And anyone that's ever played this game, especially in the front 7, it's a fight. And if you're not willing to fight and go to a place, and you hear me kind of getting a little bit inspired right here, if you're not willing to go to a place that's a little bit nuts, it's a little bit crazy, then you're not going to be able to play this game. And we had too many guys that didn't go to that place. They nice guys, happy to be there, enjoying the Golden Girls or whatever they were doing there. So we've got to inspire our players to get to that place where they can play tough and physical within the rules, 100%. But we missed 22 tackles. We practice tackling every day. Or some phase of tackling every day. And most of that was, I would say, most of the missing tackles was being at the wrong angles or not having our eyes in the right place or not using our help. So we created one-on-one tackles. And, they got guys on scholarship too. And in a one-on-one environment, they're going to win some. And some of it is Kelly Bryant probably still got that S uniform on. He just threw us around like rag dolls. So we got to play way more inspired. And then the third thing is we got to do what we're supposed to do. We did things in the game that I've never seen our guys do in practice. We have running plays coming right at defensive linemen that are popping up and running twist games that you run in pass. And there was no part of any of that was pass. So we had some guys that we have to coach them better, but we got to inspire them better. And we didn't reinvent the wheel schematically. There wasn't anything they shouldn't have been able to execute. We had 2 other plays where it was one player didn't rush on the outside that there was nobody to block him if he just went. So there was 2 other opportunities for that sack. So what should have been the storyline of the game was West Virginia has 9 sacks versus Missouri. ended up not being the storyline of the game. So we got a lot of work to do. I know our staff has rolled up its sleeves, not that we hadn't before, but we've got to find that fine edge that can convince these guys that they're capable of being as good as they want to be, and that was the message to them yesterday. And we showed them where if they just do what they're supposed to do, the plays will come to them, and we'll be as good as we want to be. Otherwise, if we don't, and you start doing their own stuff and not playing with vigor and courage and in that other place I talked about getting to, then it'll be a lot harder year than what it ought to be.
As far as your defensive ends are concerned, how much does the loss of Alston for the year?
Well, it doesn't help. Obviously, it puts more emphasis on the other two guys, and then we don't have the ability to juggle those guys at other positions. So it's definitely a depth issue. We're not as deep at any position as we need to be. We're scrambling to find backup guys at a lot of positions, and that's just the way it is. And I know I used a Joel Osteen quote last week or 2 weeks ago, but I heard him say this morning, actually driving in, was that the good Lord is he has you build a foundation. And Coach Brown said this to us, we have 1 year to build a foundation that we're going to build this program on, and we have got to build a foundation of toughness and courage and doing things right and attention to detail. And we're going to hold our guys accountable, and that we're going to have some guys step up to answer your question, and I'm expecting them to do that.
How do you feel about the player linebackers and John?
Not very good. Not very good. Way, way, way below what we expect out of them. That was, and that I'll take blame on trying to simplify things for them and ended up freezing them up. So created paralysis by de-analysis, if you will. So.
Vic, with regard to the linebackers, some of those positions are somewhat similar, like the Mike and the Bandit, and can move around, but there's also some variation there where you can't just flop guys around. But it seemed like you did some shifting, like maybe Lindsey played.
Lindsey played some Bandit for us, yes, sir.
Well,
and he actually got out there, and he was another one that kind of froze up a little bit, and we had a hard time getting lined up tempo. That was one of the ones I was talking about, that we can't get out there and just act like we had never played before. It's real hard to line up. If we say field, you line up to the field, and if we say bench, you line up to the boundary. So we got to do a better job with that. So.
Neil and Matt talked about some changes maybe in the lineup. On your side of the ball, is that something you'll look at this week too? Or?
Well, I think that when you get where you think someone can't do something or they won't do something, that's about the same. You either can or, you can't or you won't. I don't think we have any guys yet at this point in time that have gotten to that where we think they can't or they won't. I 100% think our guys can, and that should have been the message that they got yesterday. And I showed them how they can by doing what their coaches are coaching them to do, and not trying to do their own things. And like I said, it isn't the first time that's ever happened. I used the New England Patriots, for example. So. We're not to that point yet. I don't think we have any guys that are refusing to do. Now, if this continues to happen, then there's no doubt that we have to figure out, obviously, they won't do it. Like on one of our touchdown runs, somebody just stopped, didn't lay out. Well, really? And then they didn't want to be coached, so the film showed him stopping and putting his hands up. Like, I said, come on, man, this isn't a shells practice. This ain't out there where you're not wanting to leave your feet in practice. So we got to coach better, and we got to be more physical. And the last thing we're going to do is be a soft outfit. And we're going to be dadgum going after it. And if we got to change our attitude or our approach or whatever, we're going to do it. So.
I think you've done this a long time. Have you had a situation where you go up against somebody who pretty much recruited your entire group like this week?
No, talking about Gibby? Yeah, it's not Baltimore. You can say Gibby, though. He's a good guy. Anyway, I don't think there's anything. He's coaching for another team now and doing a really good job. They're shutting everybody down completely. They seem to be running a lot of stuff that he ran here, from what I'm told. I haven't really watched them on defense. I've got my plate full. There's no anything there. I mean, yeah, I'm sure some of the players are probably going to look forward to seeing him because he probably sat in their homes or whatnot. So anyway, I would hope that our players feel like they're loved and they're parented, and if there's any misgivings, then we'll find out and we'll find somebody else that wants to play.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Okay? Yeah.